Okay, so I made a post about toxic masculinity and my thoughts about it, and there was a comment that I wanted to address. I'm not even addressing the comments. I'm going to address it live or in video. Before I address the comment, I am going to talk a little bit about myself. I like to put things on me. I like to accept responsibility for the things that I do. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story. So when I was working in school, there was a kid that came in, a middle schooler, male, and he was adorable. Okay, and this kid, he was one of the first kids that I saw through the process. I was the office manager there, so it was a charter school. I took him off the wait list. Not that I picked him, but his name came up. In the legal process, his name came up, and so he came off the wait list. I got him through the whole process, and I met his parents and things like that, and I was just in love with him and the whole family. You know what I mean? And so one day, my desk wasn't far from the security guard's desk, and the security guard and I were close friends because our desks were literally like feet away from each other. And so one day, this little boy comes inside, and this little middle schooler, he comes inside the building, or he's walking by or something, and he says something. He is a very charming little boy. And he would talk during times when he wasn't supposed to, right? But he was funny, and it was hard to, scold him or correct him because you're trying not to laugh. You know what I mean? So the security guard, the young man comes by. He says something inappropriate. I tell him to get to class, and then not grossly inappropriate, just at an inappropriate time. And then the security guard checks me. He says, "You let that little boy talk to you any kind of way, or walk all over you, or something like that." He said, He said, "You let that little boy get away with murder." And I said, "What? No, I don't." And I had to think about it and check myself. And at that moment, it was clear to me why two parents are needed in a household. I had a soft spot for this kid. And I was doing him a disservice by letting him get away with things that I wouldn't let other kids get away with. Okay? And the security guard checked me on that because he's a male and he could see the difference, even though I couldn't. And after that moment, I no longer did that. Because, like I said, I was doing him a disservice, okay? So this is what I mean when I say that a father is necessary, or a male figure is necessary in a young man's life. This is what I'm saying, okay? So now let me read the comment and address it specifically. The comment was, I'm a respectfully disagree. No one is saying every form of masculinity is toxic. We're talking about the hyper masculinity that is destructive for both men and women. I'm talking about real men don't cry. A real man is supposed to only like things and never like that. It's to point out that men and boys can't even smile in photos without being called gay, whether they are or aren't. I'm talking about men not being able to hold healthy relationships with other men because they were never raised to ever even have the tools to be emotionally vulnerable outside of romantic context. It's grown ass people thinking it's okay to hire strippers or give lap dances to their boys because in some gross fucked up, why that? Okay. Here's the thing. Women do the same thing to boys, telling them, you can't cry. You got to be the man. You do like that. To me is a bad person. That's not a good parent. That is a bad role model. And you saw the post I made already about these older women messing with these boys. Let me tell you something. Before I even did any of this, I knew if I ever had a son, I would watch my son just as hard as I would watch my daughter. Because I told y'all from the previous video, or every single one except for one of my ex-boyfriends, and then the majority of the men that I talk to, whether it be on a romantic tip or just on a friendship level, mostly all of them, their first sexual experience is with an older woman. They don't see anything wrong with that. That's why it's underreported. But let me tell you something, as a woman who's dating them, I see something wrong with it. Or even as their friend, watching them date other women, I see what it has done to them. Masculinity does not have a stronghold on toxicity. Because it seems to me that there's a lot of toxic femininity going around too. Therefore, if there's both, that negates the term. It's toxic people that we must eradicate. And that's the point I'm trying to make. This term is ridiculous. You're blaming masculinity when you should blame these disgusting, vile beasts of people. When you call masculinity toxic, it automatically encompasses all of masculinity in a subconscious way. And I think you guys aren't understanding it. You're lumping it with masculinity when it's not masculinity. It is a horrible person. And that's all I'm trying to get you guys to understand. You know, the term is bogus. So take a look at this interview with Carrie Kelly, another excerpt, where he talks about how he dealt with his niece, which is the daughter of the sister that molested him. And just in case, you know, for some of you who have not had male role models, who do not know what a real man looks like, this right here is a real man. Listen to him explain how he dealt with his niece. That's a real man right there, okay?
I never told her this, but my niece, her oldest daughter, she came to visit me because she was taken away when they were so young. We didn't see Teresa. So when they got grown, they wanted to come back and know who their family was. It was like, it was crazy. And when she came back, she basically was around me, and she had a love for me more than an uncle. So she supposed I'm her uncle. And I had to tell her, Teresa, you don't know this. I had to tell my niece, you don't supposed to love me like that.
Oh, wow.
Not like that. I'm your uncle. You understand? So it's a lot of things that she probably experienced with her brother.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? That caused her to feel like it's okay to feel a certain way about her uncle. These are Teresa kids now. It's a generation.
Yeah.
So that's what I would like to tell her. Maybe she know, maybe she don't know that. And, you know, that my niece felt a certain type of way about me, and I had to correct that and check that in the door to the point where I didn't want her around me no more.
How old was she?
She was like 18, and her mom had put out. So me being the uncle, she contacted me, and I said, hey, you can come stay with me. I'm not going to see you in the streets. I don't want you out there doing the wrong thing, you know. You can stay with me until you get on your feet. And when she came to stay with me, I moved out where I was staying at because I felt uncomfortable.
Wow.
This is my niece.
Wow.
You know, I had places that I could go spend the night here and spend the night there, and different people that I knew. And I pretty much let her stay there to the point where she was staying there by herself, and she felt uncomfortable staying there by herself because she lived in Aurora. That's all she knew. All her life was Aurora. Now she's in Chicago, and, you know, the city that everything happened, you know, so.
So she actually came on to you.
It ain't that she came on to me. It's the way that if I'm talking to a female on the phone,
okay,
I done spent time with my niece and we kicked it and we went out to get something to eat, and I'm talking to somebody on the phone, she would get mad. It's just little things that I noticed that I picked up, and then she would walk around in the house that I was in that I allowed her to come stay at. Like I'm her boyfriend. I'm not supposed to. You need to put something on. You know, different things that I'm your uncle. But let's get one thing straight. You really don't know me. I haven't seen you since you was a baby.
Wow.
So I'm doing this because I'm your uncle, and you say your mom and your dad put you out, and I got a place for you to lay your head. I don't want to just see you in the streets and something happens to you. Then I'm not holding that what I feel toward my sister toward her child. Wow. That's what I'm saying.
And you felt that same. And
I felt the same eerie. She told somebody. She told a cousin of ours that her brother touched her, and that's what made me. I knew that something wasn't right. And then once we parted ways, she told another family member that her brother, which is Teresa's oldest son, touched her.
Oh, wow.
So now it comes back to me like, okay, I knew what I was feeling. It was off. It wasn't right. It didn't feel right. And I'm like, man, I feel sorry for her because she truly ain't no telling what went on in my sister's house because I know what she done in our house.